All things unexplained.
Well, this is Dr. Mouse, super fan, Alabama, Georgia, and I are heading over with Mr. J, military consultant, to one of the top secret AT&T underground facilities built in the 60s. Apparently this place was highlighted in the 50s and went into construction in 1962. It's apparently 13 stories underground. We're going to ride out there, see what's going on. Yeah, you know, I was telling them that the Greenbrier, you know about the Greenbrier? So the Greenbrier Hotel in West Virginia, it has one of these AT&T facilities underneath it. And it was originally made to like house the entire federal government if the big one did. So I'm thinking, and it's public now, like you can tour it, which would be pretty cool.
My question is, so it's all about telecommunications. They typically build towers, not underground quite so much.
Right.
It's still interesting. They think this facility.
Apparently in the 60s, they built 5 top secret underground facilities, and all they really said about them were they were for communications.
Right.
Now, we seem to know that there's a direct line of communication from the Greenbrier, for example, straight to this facility. Like there's a big button in the Greenbrier with the label of this facility on it. So there's like a direct line of communication. And the Greenbrier was made to give addresses to the public just in case like everything went down.
So the lore I've heard about this place is that it was built during the, I guess during the Cold War area to be kind of like the bomb shelter place for people from the South to go. And then when it wasn't used, a telecommunications company built it, bought it, and now use it to run telecommunications. That's the lore that I've heard behind it.
Yeah, and of course, ironically, there's a nuclear facility just down the road now, too. Which is weird. They were built it as a fallout shelter before the nuclear power plant actually went up. And yeah, there's a lot of local lore and legend around the place, right? But one thing I noticed, I did read about the Greenbrier, and is this our road? Is that, they were pouring this is it. So we want to kind of take it slow. I've heard interesting things about the properties up through here, that they just didn't look quite right. So, but man, look, okay, they definitely ain't keeping the growth.
Road.
Yeah. But we are out here. Our cover story is not a cover story. Mr. J and I are interested in buying some property out here. We did see there's some property for sale. But look, it's kind of hey, slow down here, Alabama, Georgia. So look at this. Private road, authorized use prohibited, private road, 10 miles per hour, no outlet. Pretty bizarre. You don't see that kind of signage every day. It makes you wonder about the houses back here. And we've speculated that they probably already know we're coming. And sure enough, here's a property here. Doesn't even look like, it doesn't look real. It reminds me of the nuclear facilities, the fake towns in New Mexico.
In
Lost, yes.
There's like those little properties that were built around for the. Look at that. These little.
And of course,
cabins.
Yes, in the 50s and 60s, this area was completely uninhabited. Yeah, is that an actual cabin or one of those old tobacco? I know that's a cabin, and there's a cabin. Really bizarre. And there's some sort of work truck out there.
They're just like weird.
But not
like a weird little community.
Yes.
No dead end road.
Dead end road.
It was about the 4th dead end sign we've seen.
Also, no trespassing, no hunted on that property, no trash, not a single speck of trash or litter anywhere. Not even a bug. There's not even a.
Look how thinned out the woods are too. Like you don't have any underbrush. You
Nope.
can see right through those woods.
Posted signs now on the in the woods. There's a real Stranger Things vibe as you go back this way, and there's a no trespassing sign on that tree. We're not trespassing though. I want to emphasize that we are on the road now.
Here comes, what is this?
As soon as we enter the woods,
Is this the fourth sign?
we would be
We've got
trespassing.
now?
Yeah, and here's at least the
traffic.
4 sign. Private road, no through traffic. So we're going to have to think carefully here about how much further we proceed. I suggest possibly turn around once we get the gate in sight, although I really wanted to see past it.
So I've had a friend that went through. The gates were actually open, and they went in. But they said as soon as they got through the gates, that trucks came up. They turned around and left. So I don't
Right.
know.
But if you read about everything you read says, hey, this facility, it's not even in use. It serves no function. It has no purpose.
Typically in my AT&T store, they let me go.
But yet these signs and the
here we go.
vibe,
Yeah, we're coming up.
yeah. And here we go.
We're gonna go,
I
I'm gonna
wonder
go
if
around.
I
I'm
can
gonna go up to the stop.
zoom in on this. Yeah. So we're gonna go up just a little closer, at least in the Jeep. But I suggested we should turn around here pretty soon, though. Here's one path I saw on the satellite view that goes off into the woods here. And this path, and it does say posted,
Wow,
does circle the
look
perimeter.
at our signs.
Oh, and we are on TV right now. We're on somebody's security camera on the pole there.
And we have an AT&T sign between the stop signs.
Yep.
There's a lot of power lines going in this place too.
A lot of power lines. AT&T sign, warning, authorized people only. Violators will be subject to prosecution. Delivery people, please go to personnel gate.
Oh, where you can say hello to everyone over on the left.
This is where we better make our exit. I do see one building out there, and it is not like anything I've ever seen before. Again, supposedly this facility goes 13 stories underground at least. Warning, cameras up everywhere. Path out in the woods there. Again, this is supposedly for a facility that has no function, is not in use. Very quiet out here too.
Yeah, on this side it's all fenced in.
Yep, fenced around the perimeter of the property. This particular property is 150 acres and surrounded by a gigantic swath of forest. And in 62, it was even more remote than this. There are neighborhoods adjacent to the forest tracks around this property now, but in 62 there was nothing, and a mailbox. And Mr. J was telling me a story. He was investigating the power line roads that run near here, and all of a sudden he started getting tailed by a mysterious mailman.
Really?
And I was thinking, okay, what better cover
Than to be a mailman?
yeah, to tell somebody than a mailman. And yeah, Mr. Alabama George was right. Just no undergrowth.
There's no I mean, it's all been. I mean, there's clear sight lines all through these woods. I mean, there's no woods like that.
Really interesting. There's Mr. J, our military consultant, in front of us.
Look how clear that is. Look how far you can see your woods.
And you could kind of tell. That's why I wondered when I was looking at it on satellite view. Alabama George, like me, from the deep south. And in the summertime, you ain't just taking an unabated hike through the woods.
No. You have to worry about poison ivy. Look how clear that is.
Yeah, totally cleared out in the woods.
I wish I played golf in places that they cleared it out like that. I could
Yeah.
throw my golf ball.
And that's why I wondered in the satellite view, was this in the winter?
Right.
Because you could tell in the satellite view, you could see the ground underneath the trees. through the canopy. And I thought that's really unusual. Maybe that's in the winter. Because we actually talked about approaching the property instead of from this road, from an adjacent property through the woods. You could clearly see on the satellite view that it was hikeable.
I would like to know the history of this little community that's built up right in front of it.
Yes.
You don't see this anywhere else in the...
Well, and that's the thing. What do you think, Mr. J?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Really bizarre, right? We noticed how there's no undergrowth in the woods.
No, but that's what she was just saying too, and it's well maintained all throughout on both sides.
There's not one drop of litter or trash on this entire road.
But did you notice all the power lines going in there
Did
too?
you see all the cameras too?
Oh man,
Even at the
cameras
gate,
everywhere.
like if you're putting in a code, they're looking at your face. There's not just a code to enter. They're looking to see who's putting that code in, which is...
That's why I wore this hat and shades. I got a kind of a distinctive haircut now. I don't.
But even this right up through here, look, that's all the openness.
And now we have a helicopter. Can't make this up.
We really do.
We have a helicopter.
Seems like a pretty serious helicopter too.
I don't see it, but I'm sure you can hear it.
So there's choppers like that fly all the time.
But none of us see it though.
Occasionally there's ones that fly the other direction over our house.
We were talking about how there's no speck of trash or litter anywhere along this whole road.
And the trees are trimmed.
Yes.
And the embankments are like cleaner than along like the road by our house.
I was telling Mr. J, we noticed on satellite view that I wondered if it was in the winter because you could see through the canopy and how clear it was.
But they keep the ground pretty clean.
It's the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
And there's no undergrowth.
I'd actually be curious to see about
And you
cameras
can
in
see
these
fresh
trees.
cut
too.
trees
Oh yeah.
down here
Yep.
the whole way.
And why would you have to maintain that level of maintenance for a facility with no function?
It's maintained better than the roads
Did you
by our
notice
house.
how pristine all these houses are?
Yes.
And I was, what's that say?
But there were no signs saying that we couldn't come down the road. No, just that we couldn't get anywhere.
Yeah, so you see here, private road, no through traffic.
There is a pile of old tires back there.
And all the houses just, you see the cabins too, the little cabins?
Yeah. Did you notice that there's a line, there's a ribbon here, and there's blue? There's blue paintings on the tree.
What does blue mean? I know purple is private property.
Blue is probably the maybe Black Ops property.
Well, from my other friends that have been down here, though, I'm going to be a little surprised if we don't get somebody asking what we're doing here pretty soon, to be honest.
Yeah. Let's head out. We're going to take a close inspection on these properties as we head out. But it totally reminds me of like the fake towns in New Mexico they use for the nuclear test.
Yeah, this is...
And it makes me think, you know, I've seen on television shows where some of these fake houses can have underground tunnels connecting to the real facility.
I would love to live in a neighborhood where everything's this idyllic. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I live in a neighborhood where they charge us, everything is planned and it doesn't look this perfect. I mean...
I do hear a dog though, and there's a man on his porch looking at us, and he does not look happy.
No, he's out there checking it out, isn't he?
He is staring a hole through us, let me tell you. That's the first time I felt like I was back home.
You know, it looks very sustained. Like they have their own gardens, their own...
Yes. Like they don't have to go to the grocery store.
I guess it's the top of the roof. I didn't know if I was soil guns. Look, they've got their own cows out here.
Yep. Oh yeah. On dairy, beef. But you know that guy, like,
Yeah, no, he's.
I don't care. All the neighborhoods I've visited around here, I've never had anybody step out on their front porch.
No, and just stand and watch.
And give me the look over.
Well, I wouldn't notice if you go through.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't know you're there.
But that guy looked upset. Matter of fact, I bet you the rest of these properties know we're coming through too right
I'm
now.
in a planned community that's not nearly as kept as well as this one is.
What does this sign say? Stroud 431 Mufala Holsteins. Look at that.
Well, they've got their own house.
I don't see that many Holsteins though.
I don't. I saw 2 cows earlier. I don't see any now.
There's one of those cabins. Got to have a cover story though, right? Like,
Well, this looks like a cover. I mean, what do you do there? Nobody lives in that.
no.
I mean, is it a VRBO? Oh, and look, there's a satellite dish to it.
Yep. So they're doing something in there. Who wants to come stay on
Yeah, we've got our VRBO. And
private AT&T top secret 60s era nuclear fallout, maintain the government in case of the big one, vacation spot.
I would like to know what's in that barn.
Yeah. It could be ventilation shafts. You know, we were talking about if on the satellite view you can see.
And why is this out of brick?
Look at that. Solid brick.
So you've got a brick outhouse beside your.
Solid brick. What? And it only has just a little door there.
Yeah. So what is that?
Like a maintenance door, maybe. It's not even big enough for a person. Oh, they have a welcome sign. Tell me that's not staged. You see the big welcome sign?
I guess they're not getting shot out here.
Where's the? Oh
There's like
yeah.
the whole. There's more over here.
I'm having a hard time zooming.
Like 3 of them, 4 of them.
Oh yeah, this field is littered with them.
And
There's a good one.
deer don't typically get to live like that.
No, there's no hunting anywhere for hundreds of acres around this facility. Look at that. There's no fear of us.
Yeah, in Alabama, I don't
Well,
know.
there they go though.
In Alabama, I don't care how many signs you put up.
And there's more. There's a lot more out there.
Well, look, they're watching us over here.
They're both sides of the road, dear.
I know a couple of boys. I don't care how many signs you put up, they're coming.
Yeah, and you know, there's been a lot of reports about this facility, about mysterious sounds, about how the facility has its own weather. Like lightning can appear to be striking above the facility at night when there's no other weather in the
Yeah,
area.
they're getting a lot of. See those tracks up there?
Yep.
You don't typically see that alone.
And we're getting somebody honking behind us. No, you don't. Like somebody just goes
Yeah,
straight
like those
across.
things are open. There's a lot of traffic through there.
And there's some of the power lines running back through there.
You gonna go through there and see what's in there?
we are in the Jeep, the Alabama George
check it
Jeep. Well, I don't see posted, but I don't know. I don't know what Mr. J would do
Yeah,
at
I
that
don't
point.
know that the minivan. Oh, hang on.
Hey, what's that?
There's a tract of land right down here that we could remember on the satellite view.
Yep.
We can walk up that thing.
Let's see what's back that way. If y'all got time. We also noticed this
See how
weird.
long that is? That's a lot of people going through there. I mean, I don't know what they're maintaining.
We go down. See those gates on it.
All right. Well, let's go check it out. We're gonna head. I believe it's south.
I'll let him take us that way. I'll pull over here in a minute.
And that's real interesting things I found out about the property. I'm not going to reveal it right now. I'm going to save it for a show. But I did find out, at least on paper, who sold this property to AT&T. I'm not going to spoil it, but I was telling Alabama George earlier, A mystery woman in 1962 sold this 150 acres to AT&T for $10. $10. What a deal.
Look at how much acres that is. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
and look how immaculately those trees are cut. Like, you don't see forest look like that.
Nope.
There's not. People don't tend to forest. I mean, it's,
And there's a driveway to a mystery barn. A lot nicer than any barn I've ever used. Another mystery
oh, is that where?
drive. Not sure.
He pointed that way.
But there's at least several hundred acres on this side. Now we do have some development adjacent, this being one of them. Well, this is pretty gated too. Was that last drive what you're talking about?
The power lines, we can walk, that's what's open. We can walk all the way back there, back behind it. And it goes in between the preserve and our spot of interest.
Where you?
If we went to the drive and walked around the side, what do you think would happen? Like, parked our car, like, went up to where the gate was and kind of walked around that side, like, before the fence starts.
There's only one way to find out.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, it said posted violators will be prosecuted. So that,
even getting off the...
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
See the people on the porches?
oh,
Yeah.
yes. Well, we saw the guy. Did somebody else come out? The same house? Wow. They were not happy. And I was telling George, all the time I lived here in North Carolina, I haven't had one home that come out on me for riding through like that. Like George said, he wouldn't know if anybody's going to buy his house or not. Or are you thinking about parking to do that, or should we
You want to
plot?
turn down that road?
Should we plot a return when there's no extras, small extras?
We can do it tomorrow morning. Between 8 and 1. You got
It's gonna be tough for me. I got to get a project on, but about this time of evening, anytime this week.
Anytime we're not...
Which I'm up for a little. I mean, where are you talking about parking to go up there?
park right here and walk.
How far? All right. How far we got to
I
it?
think here would be a bigger problem because this is neighborhood. They're going to notice people just parking on the side of the road. If we put in that little turnoff, I think we'd be okay.
Think so?
I think so. Let's go back to that turnoff. At least look at it, and we'll see where we go from there.
All right.
As a recent article about this facility pointed out, this one out of the 5 that AT&T built in the 60s makes the little sense. It's on the East Coast, but it's really in the middle of nowhere. We're about, 4.5 hours from D.C.? 5?
About 5 hours, yeah.
5 hours from D.C. Middle of nowhere and not mountainous. The other facilities are all in the mountains or beneath the mountains.
Well, there's one in the back of, what's it called, in North Dakota.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's supposed to be one in the back again. I think that was fairly well confirmed.
I think so. I know what you're talking about.
This is the road.
Yeah, so we're talking about a mystery AT&T facility here. Hundreds of acres of just, pretty big. Oh, there's a gate and a keypad. Wow. And I've never seen this level of secure property adjacent surrounding a facility. And why would you need to surround a AT&T facility like this?
That's what I was thinking about pulling off. I didn't know there was a gate there.
I think our options are kind of limited now tonight with the little ones, unless we could pull over up here on the left.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe there's...
Where's the power lines at?
That's the power. Wow, there's a lot of power lines. Another gated?
Another gated entrance to whatever's back there. We would definitely could not pull off here. Another mystery.
Let me ask if there was another turnoff. I think that's the last one that I heard. There's no other turnoff. This is it.
Yeah. We can. You want to lead the way?
Off Bigwood?
All right. Well, so we noticed that the lady that sold this property, a single lady in the 60s, for $10 AT&T, 150 acres.
How perfect that feeling is.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You could draw a line down. I mean,
It's pretty amazing. And that's what you would call the buffer zone around the mystery bunker, top secret facility, supposedly 13 stories deep underground. By the way, that would be by far the tallest building in this entire county if it was above ground. But we noticed on the satellite view that this property actually backs up to a very large neighborhood here. I'm not going to say the name of it. Another gated, heavily gated entrance to an adjacent property.
and there was nothing there but a mosquito pond.
Yep. How much you bet this one's gated too? Don't see it, but it's not exactly inviting back that way. So we're going to go check out this very large neighborhood that is adjacent. On the satellite view, it was approximately half a mile from the back side of the AT&T facility of just those cleared out woods. So I don't know if you know anybody in that neighborhood. I feel like you probably do. But I wondered and by the way, the lady that sold the property at AT&T put the rest of the land surrounding it in a family trust. And she is now apparently in South Carolina, which I'll talk more about that later, not tonight. But
I would be interested to see if those woods are as limbed up and cleared out as the rest of the preserve is like normal land.
right. And that
If you look at those woods, like you can't see through those trees.
No, exactly.
Everything is like
same over here on this side.
You can't see through the woods. There's underbrush. It grows on. But
Yes.
Not around the big hole.
Nope. And we wondered, okay, if you go to this adjacent neighborhood. Oh yeah, there was another. This was adjacent too. Yeah. What does it look like on the approach to the woods behind these houses? Now there are some vacant lots. He's probably gonna. This neighborhood is actually much bigger than you realize.
Yeah.
It stretches way back here. So yeah, you're talking about back here, and there were actually some empty lots, if I recall, and we could at least see the entrance to the woods. I saw something in the brush over there.
All of a sudden, my satellite view was all scrambled, and I can't see hardly anything.
I don't know. All right, so we're heading to the very back side of a very large neighborhood that backs up to the AT&T top secret facility, supposedly 13 stories underground. We're talking 130 feet deep. If it's 13 stories, 130 feet deep. The Greenbrier facility was over 100,000 square foot underground, with at least 2 massive doors that took 50 pounds of force to open.
And there's a reason that you build underground, because it's so much more expensive to try to excavate that type of property. And
There's
to
the
just build
belches.
up.
Yes. Not to mention the secrecy level is
Yeah.
off the charts. And we noticed on satellite view one of those buildings. Oh, there's some deer right there. Look at that. So we noticed on satellite view that one of those buildings, the driveway kind of looped back into it. It looked like the kind of, and the entrance was facing away from the gate. It looked like the kind of place where you would drive into and be lowered underground, for example. These folks have no idea what they're living so close to. Nice.
I'm doing the best
Evening
nobody
stroll.
in this neighborhood knows that what I'm about to say.
Oh, I know.
I didn't, to be honest with you. I mean, been in this neighborhood 1,000 times, and I had no idea that it was right back there. And I've heard of the facility. Like, I've had friends go there, gone through the gates, told me about it, but I had no idea it was right behind this neighborhood. I would have never thought that. Because
And we've heard it said, right? What better place to hide something but plain sight? Yeah. Oh, there's some more deer. They're all over out here. But we're trying to go to the back end of this property where it backs up to the buffer zone woods around the AT&T facility. Those woods, those tracts of land are still owned by the family that sold it to AT&T. In 1962, they sold 150 acres to the AT&T, $10. It's like we were talking, you know, I've heard of people donating land to the parks and recreation or the county for schools, whatever.
so a huge part of very, very expensive property was donated to Appalachian State up in the mountains of North Carolina.
Yeah, right.
But like I told you, as much as I love Sony TVs, I'm not donating
Right.
my property so they can build more TVs in my backyard.
Who has some incredibly valuable property they want to donate to Verizon? Anybody up for that?
Inflation's a thing, but $10 in the 60s.
But one quite interesting thing that I'll tease is this lady now resides in a quite luxurious, what I would call mansion in South Carolina now. She got they were already wealthy, thus explaining the land ownership, or they got a lot more out of the deal than $10.
So I'll say, and I told you this before, I find it a little suspicious. So AT&T is a huge telecommunications company. So they're always fighting over these telecommunications companies getting the upper hand, becoming a monopoly. So it's Sprint and T-Mobile when they merged, and when AT&T and I don't remember now which one they merged with, and Verizon, all of that requires federal approval. Everything they do, they have to have approval for the towers, for their mergings, all those things. And so now we have possibly a federal facility that is owned by a company that needs their approval.
Right, and we were talking about, you know, people believe originally it was partially intended as a nuclear fallout shelter for the federal government to maintain the intactness of our government and to keep it operating in the event of the big one, whatever the big one may be. But we just don't know for sure.
I don't think this neighborhood. I don't think you get there from here.
Well, you can't get there, but
I'd be curious to see what the land looks like if Jason's built up.
oh, and what I was going to say is now, if you follow our Facebook page and Twitter, there's been a lot of nuclear talk on the news lately. For example, New York City just released a super creepy public service announcement about what to do in case the big one hit New York City. And Alabama and Georgia give me a funny look. I'm not even making that up. And then our local news, actually, there's some more deer in that, a little one too. Look at that. Just released a story
Oh, it is. Look at that.
about nuclear attack. I mean, I think it's pretty bizarre. Oh, and then we had a nuclear facility in, I think, New Jersey that accidentally last week released a warning message to evacuate the beach. Now, how would you like to be on that beach? So the woods we're talking about here, I'm trying to orient myself. I think is out that way. I don't think these people will come out looking at us.
No, they're not listening.
Mr. J, are we talking about back this way?
Yeah. Right back into there. Weird. Big hole.
How far back is the facility? Do you know?
Probably a half a
Yeah, I estimated half a mile back that way based on the satellite. Oh yeah, look at that.
The closest public road.
And it-
Let me see.
And this is all new.
Underbrush.
How new is this neighborhood?
So this
Actually, it's closer than I thought.
yeah.
And again, do you think these people know what they back up to?
Okay, so look at that facility, how it sticks out on the map, how undercut it is,
Yep.
how it, I mean,
It's closer than the preserve right here.
Are there any empty lots through here?
It goes in a big circle.
Big hole. This is our location. I can't, for whatever reason, I messed up. Like, it just not coming up.
And what I wondered is, if you entered the woods right there, at what point would we start seeing posted signs, you think?
Probably not far behind this
so
property.
there's a little trail. You can see a little trail coming
Yeah.
right there.
One way to find out.
Yeah, we need an empty lot though. Yeah,
Well,
it might be a little creepy. They might
there was one coming down.
dial
the
911 on
way.
us.
There was a for sale sign back there on that other road. We could get through there.
Did you see it?
Yeah, it was on the right-hand side of the road. There was a little, well, I'm assuming it was a for sale sign. It was a sign up on the road. I don't know what it was before.
So, directly through those woods there, about a half mile into the woods, you come up on the backside of the AT&T top secret underground facility. Supposedly no longer functioning, but if you've been watching this video, something's functioning. By the way, on the satellite view, you can see, I'll tell Mr. George this too. So another thing you can see on that satellite view, they have like a 70 car parking lot at the has no use top secret AT&T facility.
Nobody's using it. Pay attention to that.
But we wondered how far into the woods there would you have to go till all of a sudden it's really maintained and posted.
But they come right here. They come up onto the side of the compound. From right here.
Some of
It's the
these look like
closest point.
roads.
Yeah, they're
Cut
trails
in.
for sure.
And I'm thinking they probably, drive those trails on ATVs or something and,
See, that
and
looks like
guard.
there's some dirt work
Yeah.
that shows up. Like why is there dirt work in the middle of the woods? And so from here, it's probably a power line that runs straight from behind this neighborhood straight into the facility. You see the line?
Yep. Oh yeah.
So that's where we are. So that's got to be a power
Well,
line.
let's go to the end of the road, see if there's any empty lots. Because otherwise we couldn't go through any of these.
There's not a single power line here. It's all underground.
Oh, you're right.
Not a single power line.
How interesting.
I can ask him. You want me to ask him?
Sure. I mean, well, I don't want to bother anybody, but we're just making a podcast here, of course. Yeah, Mr. J, gonna talk to this fella here about it. Nice houses back here, big lots.
No, this is Fish Lumber built all these ones.
Oh. Fitch, you say? I believe they're in Mississippi too. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
And so the Fitch family built these homes, Polk Landing, the whole.
What did he say? What did he say?
We can walk through. He said that he doesn't have a problem with it.
Oh. Well, thank you.
You want to do that?
Yeah, I'll check it out. Would he care if we park? Would you mind if we just park right through here?
He said
Okay.
to stay off the grass.
You up for that, Alabama George? Good thing I wore my hiking shoes. Well, how far in? Is it posted? We may be about to find out. And that's why we bring Mr. J with us. So that's why we bring Mr. J.
Oh, he said stay off the grass.
Watch the grass. Watch the grass.
He said, George, he said stay off the grass. I think you'd be okay right here. Or I tell you what, why don't you park back down there, and then I'll come pick, or have Jesse come pick him up.
Well, we'll probably be okay here, I bet. There's not much traffic back here. He say we could just walk right through here, you think?
Yeah, he said just walk right through here.
Oh. Well, here we go. So this neighborhood property backs up adjacent to the backside of the top secret AT&T facility.
All things unexplained.